Okay, now we're on Chapter 6, Activity 3. In your book, we're going to be filling in the table that is on page 6-37. I have carbon in the form of coal and in the form of graphite. Graphite is basically what your pencil lead is made out of. It's a form of coal. Diamonds are a form of carbon. Diamonds are a form of carbon as well. Coal is a form of carbon. If scientists could figure out a way to turn coal into diamonds cheaply, it'd be all set. Because they're both actually just made of carbon, but it's just a different configuration of the atoms. We have iron filings in here. They're just little tiny pieces of iron, and we also have iron in the form of a nail. We have some silicone. Silicone is a beautiful, shiny, metallic looking piece. We have sulfur, which is a bright yellow. Now you may have noticed that we skipped magnesium. Magnesium is a little volatile. We're not going to work with the magnesium. We have tin. Tin is another shiny substance. And we have zinc, which is another shiny substance. Now, first of all, I want you to fill out the magnesium row. In appearance, magnesium is silvery or metallic looking. Does it conduct electricity? Yes. Is it malleable? Yes. And I will show you what malleable means in a minute. Does it interact with hydrochloric acid? Yes, it bubbles. Does it interact with copper chloride? Yes, there's a color change. Now the first line that we're going to fill out is the appearance. The appearance, what it looks like. And so as you see in your book on the bottom of page 636, some different words are given. Record the appearance, include descriptions of color, luster, form, or metallic. And so that's what we'll be doing. So when we pick up the coal, the best way to describe the coal is it's just black. And it doesn't really have any crystals in it. Now when we pick up the graphite, graphite is kind of a grayish black, but it's a little bit shiny. Now when we look at the iron nail, we can see that the iron nail is kind of, again, a shiny silvery color, and it's metallic. The silicone is very silvery. It's very, very shiny. It's just brilliant. You can see it. The sulfur is a yellow color, not really crystals at all. The tin is again a silvery, kind of metallic looking substance. And the zinc is again silvery and metallic. So let's record that in our data. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is see if they're conductive. So we're going to use this little apparatus that some genius made. And you can see it has a little red LED light. And if something conducts electricity, the light will go on. So I'm going to touch it to the coal. Touching it to the coal. Did the light go on? No. So you would put a no for conductive for coal. Now I'm going to touch it to the graphite. You see the light flashing on? Okay. The light is flashing on. That means it is a yes. Graphite is a yes. Iron, we'll use the nail. That'll be easier. Okay, the iron nail, you can see the light flashing on. So that would be a yes for iron. The silicone. Let's see what the silicone does. You see the light flashing on for the silicone? So that would be a yes. The sulfur, is the sulfur flashing on? So sulfur would be a no. The tin, let's test the tin. You can see the tin lights it up when I touch both. I've got to touch both of these little wires here, so that's why sometimes it's a little hard. And now the zinc. If I take the zinc and touch, you can see that it does light up, so therefore it is conductive. Okay, so let's go over the conductive. So carbon as coal was no, it did not light up the light. Carbon as graphite, yes. Iron was a yes. Magnesium we already said was a yes. Silicone was a yes. Sulfur was a no. Tin was a yes. Zinc was a yes. Now the next column is malleability. So malleability is simply a measure. If you take that substance and you try to flatten it with a hammer, will it break into a bunch of pieces, or can you flatten it? So I've got a piece of tin here and I'm pounding it with the hammer, and you can see that I basically just flattened it out. It didn't break into a bunch of pieces. So that would mean yes, tin is malleable. Okay, so we can either call it brittle or malleable. So carbon in both forms was brittle. Iron is malleable. You can take iron and flatten it out. Magnesium is also malleable. Silicone was brittle. Sulfur was brittle. And tin and zinc were both malleable. But for the interacts with hydrochloric and interacts with copper chloride, the carbon is none and none. The graphite, carbon as graphite, is none and none. The iron is bubbles and turns color. The magnesium was bubbles and turns color. We already have that. The silicone is none and none. The sulfur is none and none. The tin is bubbles and turns color. And the zinc is bubbles and turns color. So 4 were none and none, 4 were bubbles and turns color. Iron, magnesium, tin, and zinc were all bubbles and turns color. And if you notice, those are all metals. And that's going to become important in our next exercise.